Vega are back with a new line of products, and today we're going to test them out and tell you a little bit more about them. So if you don't know who Vega are, cast your mind back to round about early to mid-late 2000s. Vega were the product that was seen as the premium product. Very pricey, and if you had them in your bag, you were deemed to be a little bit of a player. And there was also the rumours going round that they made Tiger Woods' irons. Whether it was them, Miura, Vega was always thrown in as to one of the brands that were actually making Tiger's irons. But they've released a new line of products. They're still at the same price, and today we're going to find out, are they actually worth it? Because let me tell you, they are pricey. They look good though. They look really good. So the first thing that people tend to ask when you show them a Vega product is, how much is it? And this new Starline putter, the Mirac putter, is gorgeous. It's actually £399. So that's like pretty much the same price as some drivers. And I know a lot of people argue you should be paying more for your putter than your driver because you tend to use it more in a round, but £399. I mean, you can get Odysseys for like 150. You can get Pings around the same mark. Scotty Camerons, they're coming in a little bit cheaper. Let's give it a go and see what it's like. £399. Well, when you actually get the putter in hand, it does ooze a little bit of premium when you're gripping it. The grip's actually made from leather. You can see it's got a nice little bit of stitching at the back here, blacked out shaft, some pretty cool sort of gold and white embossing around the face there, and it does look like a premium putter. I've actually selected the Mirac AB here, which is one of the blades. It's a little bit wider. It's got changeable weight down in the bottom of the putter, so you can make it lighter or heavier, and also then on the face we've got a little bit of milling to help with the feel. But let's have an actual putt with it, and at £400, well, £399, you're going to get a pound's change. Does it actually hold every single putt? Do you know what? That leather grip, it feels good, to be fair. My only question is, right, we're having it, we're job done. Would that last? Would a leather grip last? Comment down below. Do you think, or have you used a leather grip before on your putter? Is that gonna run out pretty quickly? Is it gonna start to go real shiny? But I'd be pretty annoyed if it did, but if I was holding them like that each time, it wouldn't really matter. It does look very good behind the golf ball. How's that not gone in? That's witchcraft. I think with a putter I like a blade, I like a slightly bigger blade as well for alignment, so it's ticking a box on that. But let's have a putt, see what it feels like. Go on then. Just doesn't miss, this thing. Doesn't miss. Oh, it does miss if you hit it right out the heel. Should we Vega it up, everyone? No, still misses, still misses. Initial thoughts, to be fair, feels really good, and it did feel like I actually couldn't miss at one point with it. My main question is about the grip. Will that actually last? Because I think if you're using leather, that's surely got to get shiny and cracked a little bit, and would it feel a little bit slippy? But it looks fantastic. There are 7 putters in the Mirac line as well, in the Star lineup, to choose from, whether you wanted more of a fang-like putter, a blade, or more of the mallet style. But with that changeable weight, it's going to suit people if they want it heavier and light. Felt great off the face, sounded good, and looks good. So at the moment, that's ticking the box. My only concern, like I say, is that little grip. Also, you do get a premium leather head cover for your £399, which feels fantastic and has probably some of the strongest magnets in the world there. So, you know, that's a positive. Let's take a look at the Wedge, which again, is quite pricey. The next product is the Vega Alcor Wedge, which comes again from the Starline, and it is made of pure gold. It just reminds me of Austin Powers, this one. You've got a gold wedge. £225 for this. I think a Vokey SM9 is round about £175. So you're looking another £75 on top of this. What they're saying though with this is it's forged from a one-piece construction of brass, CNC milled on the face, and the way it's actually constructed with these little grooves in the back here, they're able to change the centre of gravity, so you'll see a lower flight. You're not going to get those pop-in shots with your wedges, and you should see more spin as you're coming through. The way the sole's designed as well, less drag through the turf, so we're not going to see it digging in too much. So let's give it a go, the golden wedge, see if it's performing. Are we going to get some spin? Are we going to see that sort of lower flight? And what will it feel like? Will it feel like gold? Ooh, that did feel good. Shame I pulled it. Did that just spin back? I think we need to get a camera up there, because I think a 30-yard pitch has just spun back. That's a bit mental if that's the case. Dunk it. Hit a little down slope, but I tell you what, it felt good. Felt good. Let's hit one more from this distance, then I'll move back. Take that, that's stopping for such a... We're only 15 paces off the front of the green there, and that's literally bounced once, skidded, and just trickled on the downslope. It has stopped pretty quick there. Let's just hit a few longer ones and see if we get that little bit more zippy action. This is probably about a 40-yard pitch now, 45 yards, so might see a little bit more action. Definitely the feel straight off feels good. Might see a little bit more of that lower flight as well here. Oh, that felt great. Yeah, even there, that stopped pretty quick. Like I say, that little downslope that they're landing onto, and it's still one bounce and a little bit of grip. Let's just hit one more from a little further afield and see if we get the stop quickly. Even just having a little bounce of it there, Pro V1 on there, it feels fantastic. It does feel like a really nice wedge, but does it feel any better than an SM9 at 175, and this is 225? There is, I wouldn't say a noticeable difference. They both feel great, but definitely think forgiveness as well. Probably a couple of iffy strikes in there. We've still seen a decent flight from them. Like I say, with this little weighting system that you will see in some of the Starline irons shortly, they're able to move the weight around the face, and a lot of wedges, generally the sweet spots down low heel is where they've able to put it a little bit more high centre to see that little bit more penetration and help with the spin. But let's hit one a little bit further out. We've got about 65 up to the flag. Let's see if we can get a little bit of zippy. Oh, that felt zipped. Pretty much stopped dead, that one bounce. You can feel it, like when you've got a good ball as well and you've got a good wedge, you feel sort of the ball seeping into the grooves there, and I definitely felt that from that shot there. So the old core wedge, gold. It does come in satin as well if you don't want the Austin Powers one. It looks fantastic, it feels fantastic, and we are seeing some good spin there. 225 though, a lot of dough. Let's take a look at some of the irons that they've got to offer, and we're going to answer that question: are they worth it? Have you heard of Vega before?
No.
No, right. How much do you think that would be?
Probably say around 130 quid, 130 pounds.
Yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah. Oh.
Heard of Vega?
No, I haven't heard of Vega either. I'll go for about 150.
150.
Yeah.
And?
£225 per wedge.
Wow.
Yeah. Would you pay it?
No, not at my level.
Yeah.
No.
How does it feel playing it?
Good, to be fair. It's a company from Japan. They were big quite a few years ago and re-released a load of stuff now. But 225.
Second hand.
Oh, 224. So the next two offerings in the Star lineup are the Vega Mizar Tour Iron and the Vega Mizar Plus Iron. We have a bit more of a compact cavity and we have a slightly bigger cavity, again featuring these grooves here along the faces that allows them to distribute weight a little bit differently in the Plus, and that's all to do with forgiveness and launching the ball and actually making the iron a little bit more playable. Features a slightly different face insert as well, again to boost ball speed and help with that forgiveness, and yet again these are pricey. £1,350 6 iron to A wedge, £1,575 5 iron to A wedge, and coming in at 1,800. 4 to a wedge. That's 8 golf clubs. 1,800. It's a lot of dough. It is a lot of dough. Shame they don't come in gold. I'd just have a set. If they were gold, I'd be all over it. So the Plus model is aimed more at that sort of mid handicapper, maybe slightly higher handicapper, slightly wider sole, bit of a thicker top edge. Features the Shimada tour shaft like all the other irons do as well. Behind the golf ball, it's looking like there is a little bit more offset there and does look a little bit longer from toe to heel. So I would say this is probably aimed at that player that wants that forgiveness element as they choose one of these sets. But let's just give it a little rip here. I've got 170 up to the middle of the green. Let's see if we can get anywhere near there. I won't get anywhere near it with a slice, I know that. Tell you what, for all that money, I was hoping that was going to go dead straight. Won't fix those shots. That's a beautiful flight. It felt great. It's at the flag, just a little left. I love that flight. It wasn't like jumping up in the air, which I would expect from maybe more of a mid-handicapper's club. Let's just hit one more with this. That was beautiful. That sounded great as well. So it is a forged club, so I would expect to get that feel there. It's coming straight from Japan, and that's where those old Tiger rumours were coming from, them having the best forging. Did Tiger actually have Vega in the bag? Who knows? Comment down below, do you think he did? Nice strike, just drifting right. Does get a lovely flight, they feel great. Just on the right edge of the green. Right, so let's hit a few of the tours and then let's get some numbers on these. So we're going to try the Mizuno tours here. Like I say, a bit more of a compact look about this one, smaller cavity, not seeing as much etching on the club head. And then even behind the golf ball, we're seeing that toe to heel looks like a shorter blade and the top line looks a little bit thinner. So, you know, you would sort of classify this as the player's iron, maybe a little bit more. They do offer more irons in their classic line, and one of them being the VMB, probably the most players looking one that Vega do offer. Really thin top line on that one, and looks very sort of bladed like. But this from the Star line is a bit more compact and looks a bit more appealing, not as much offset on it. But 16th hole, let's just hit a couple here and see if we can sense any difference. Wow, that's low. Drifting a little bit right, it's just going to miss the green right, but definitely had more of that penetrating flight on that one. The difference with these compared to the Plus, you would see the line being filled in with the etch lines that they have on the Plus, which is, like I say, enabling that ball flight to pop a little bit more for the player that wants it, as where with the tour ones, it would be something that sort of player generally wouldn't be looking for. And you could tell that with that first flight there, that really came out quite piercing, that one. Let's go again, aim a little bit more up the left, Matthew. Just left of the flag again. Definitely seeing that more flat flight with that one. Sounds great, absolutely sounds beautiful. That forging that they've got in these, it really does feel great, and that sort of solid strike, it doesn't sound too tinny, is one thing that I generally describe an iron when it doesn't sound great, sort of tinny, and the metal sounds sort of cheap, was where we know these aren't cheap, and they do sound beautiful, look good. Let's hit one more, then we're going to head to the studio and get a few numbers on these rascals. That's straight at the flag. Wasn't my best strike. That'll be pretty close, that one. So even now with a pretty poor strike, there's an element of forgiveness there. Right, let's get some numbers on them. I'm expecting a little bit more of a higher flight with the Plus and maybe a little bit more distance, maybe a little less spin. Not bad, seemed not bad for an iffy strike. Whoa, that's massive. Definitely feel forgiving. Got that air of forgiveness, feel like they pop a little bit more up. They do feel good though. They do feel good. Oh, that's left. That is left. They do feel like they come off quick though, to be fair. They do feel out there. Right, let's try some with the tour. Let's see if we get a big difference in the numbers. Definitely look better, not as offset. So I'm expecting to probably maybe see a little bit more spin, a little less ball speed, maybe a tad less distance, because it's more about the workability and the playability with these, instead of forgiveness and distance with the other one. More green-like, felt good. Definitely don't feel it sort of coming off as fast off the face. I do feel like with some of the plus ones, you could just, felt like it was really jumping off. It's not miles difference though, to be fair. That's a good shot. Feels longer. Could be in the hole, could be in the, no, it's too long. I do prefer this tour. I think it would be more consistent back to front distance, I would say. I would get the feeling over time with it. Felt good. That looks long. Well, let's have a look at some numbers on those, see if my suspicions were right. So, as I thought my suspicions were right, the plus was going a little bit longer. We saw that it was also spinning a little bit less. Interestingly, the ball speeds were pretty much identical, I think 0.4 of a difference in those. And interestingly, the launch angle was slightly lower with the plus. Now, that all comes down to strike a little bit. It's only, I think, half a degree, the difference of them, and then couple that with the low spin. That's why we're seeing maybe a little bit more distance in there. So is the Vega Starline worth their big price tags? I think the answer is yes. If your budget can stretch to that and you want to go and spend that on a golf club, that is totally up to you. All I would say is that don't expect them to be better than their counterparts like the TaylorMades, like the Titleist Callaways at maybe 2/3 the price. Just because they're a little bit more expensive, they're not miracle clubs. They look good, they feel good, they perform well. It's all down to your budget. Guys, hope you've enjoyed it. Hit that sub button. I'll see you in the next one.